Last Christmas, Capaldi's first Christmas special. Clara Oswald wakes up one Christmas Eve to discover that she is going to have a Christmas she will never forget. Reunited with the 12th Doctor, she faces what could possibly be her last Christmas. Something sinister lurks in an Arctic base at the North Pole, and it's beyond even the most terrible, nightmarish creatures the Doctor has faced before. So it's Christmas Eve, the world is at stake. Who are you gonna call? Santa Claus, of course. Okay, I'm actually gonna start with the bad stuff about this episode. This episode is inconsistent in tone. Some of it feels light and humorous, some of it feels dark and complicated, some of it feels like something in between, and some of it feels like something we haven't even seen yet. Particularly in the middle of the episode, approximately from the end of the first act to the beginning of the second act. Whether we start off in a dark corridor with creepy aliens and blue lighting and dark shadows, then we get a small joke which comes in out of place even when we don't actually need it, or when sometimes Santa and his elves might pop in unexpectedly. There are also moments when Moffat's writing or generic tropes pop in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. They're almost like he says, okay, here's what we got to do. Create a tone, add a new twist, give a theatrical speech, add some humor, and try and get some things up for future episodes. But over time it does get better though. The plot is meh, the villain is meh, the supporting casts are meh. The cast is either the undesieged crew or the joking elves. The elves in particular do have a few unnatural, annoying moments, but they don't come across as too obnoxious. But yeah, the main flaw is the build-up. A lot of us knew that this was meant to have Clara leave the show at this point, but then Jenna Coleman had a last-minute change of thought and decided to do another series, therefore making the entire hour of getting emotional in this episode was a waste of time. And yeah, what everyone else said, how they could have ended if Clara did leave there, I agree. It did feel like a good time to go, even though it was a complete waste of time due to Coleman's change of mind to stay for one more series, and yeah, look how that turned out. Again, it's not the episode's fault. Got all of that out of my system? Great. Now the good stuff. I like this episode. Now, let me be real with you. There are some flaws, yes, but there is a lot of stuff that I actually enjoy about this special. It's got a good mixture of scary and funny moments, which I think is what we may need in a Christmas special. Everyone seems to be having a great time in this special. The Doctor, Clara, Santa, the cast, crew, everyone. Capaldi in particular, he's just having what is probably the best time of his working career. He goes from talking to every character in the base, having a sort of rivalry against the Santas bigger on the inside sack, which I did like, to flying the sleigh at the end. Jenna Coleman, while I did think she didn't make much of an impact in the previous special, she is a lot better in this one, since this episode was originally meant to focus on her. Having her question whether she believes in Santa, whether she wants to stay in the dream, or whether or not she wants to continue traveling with the Doctor after the events of Series 8. The whole dream within dream concept is a brilliant idea. It's complicated, yes, but we cannot ignore that we all have that same feeling, trying to work out what's real and what isn't, trying to get out of a dream or try and stay in a dream. The creatures are an interesting concept as well. Yes, I know they look like facehuggers, I guessed it from the teaser trailer, and there is an obvious shoehorned in joke about it, but the monsters themselves are really terrifying. Mainly when they're the facehuggers just on their own. They're like spiders hanging from the ceiling in a spooky ghost ride. No matter where you are, no matter how quiet it is, you have no idea where or when they're going to turn up. And when they turn up, I feel like I just want to jump away and just run out the door. Once they're placed on the human bodies, they're kind of not that threatening anymore. But I have to give credit to the effects team, the design on the sets, the lighting, the monsters, the animatronics, the CGI sequence. Definitely one of the best sequences in any Christmas special. Speaking of which, I really do like Clara's dream sequence. Yes, even though it's a dream, it does give the usual Christmas spirit we do get in previous specials. And I also like how they ended the Danny Pink Clara story arc, which I think wasn't done well in Series 8, and it's well handled in this special. It was probably the only time I liked their relationship together. And yeah, the idea of Clara leaving at this point I think would have made this a great special, since the build-up was portrayed really well with the dream sequence. But to me, the entire ending is beautiful. Having the Doctor see his companion at an old age, leaving him feel ashamed of not trying harder. So he then decides to stay with her for one Christmas. Just look at this one shot of the Doctor placing a Christmas crown on her head. On what he sees is young Clara. It's kind of a look back on his time with her. You don't question how it is, you just accept that he can only see her as Clara. He doesn't care how old she is, he just sees his friend. And I love how he didn't talk about his adventures, but decided to get to know about her life, about Clara's life, therefore making this Christmas worthwhile. Again, I wish it was built up a little better in the rest of the episode. The supporting casts are good. While they do play the stereotypical stressful leader, the slow old man, the confused mechanic, and the childish youth, but they do have their good moments. I particularly love when they're flying on the sleigh and we find out exactly where these people come from, because we actually get to know these characters a lot more in one scene than we do in the rest of the episode. And yeah, the biggest star of the episode is Nick Frost as Santa. Again, like many celebrities, he is almost wasted in this episode. I say almost because most of the time he is left off screen, but whenever he comes in, it's great. I can actually see Frost's Santa as a kind of modern Santa. He has the everyman charm to him, but he does play the traditional jolly character of Father Christmas. He's chirpy, cheeky, sometimes edgy, but he does have his meaningful moments when he talks about believing in Santa or Christmas. So I'd say he makes a good Santa, and Frost is just having the time of his life. Whether he's working with Capaldi or Jenna Coleman, he is having a good time. If you don't believe me, look at Doctor Who Extra. Everyone is having fun making this special, which I think is what the other specials may have been lacking. Fun. I do like the whole every Christmas is last Christmas phrase. I think it does work well in reality, since we don't know whether one Christmas might be our last Christmas, so we might as well make the best out of it. I guess that's why we make every Christmas bigger and better. Whilst Christmas in the Time of the Doctor was fairly minimal, this special has Christmas front and center, but in the best possible way. And Nick Frost, he's an actor who had to be in Doctor Who sooner or later. Making him as Santa is an added bonus. It's got a good supporting cast who each have their good standout moments. The story does focus on a concept that some of us have experienced, and the episode is shown in quite a festive way. Not the best, but a very entertaining Christmas special, nonetheless. I can see some people not liking this episode since the entire story is now a waste of time because how they changed the ending. But again, if that doesn't bother you, I think this episode can be of a more fun magical ride. I enjoyed it, I had a good time. Just ride on that sleigh and just have yourselves a good time. Ho ho ho.